أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Lesson 3. Let us start by reciting all the Arabic alphabet. Starting from the right corner. Alif, Ba, Ta, Tha, Jim, Ha, Kha, Dal, Dal, Ra, Zain, Sin, Shin, صاد ضاد طاء ضاء عين غين فاء قاف كاف لام ميم نون هاء واو ياء. صاد 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 ضاد 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 The first illustration shows how Sad appears when it is in the beginning of a word, the middle of a word, and at the end of a word. The second illustration shows how to write letter Sad. So you start from the line and you go up step 1, then you curve 2, and you go on the line 3, then you go up and you go down again without raising your pen to go to step 3, 4, and 5. Notice that you go a little bit above the line in step 5. Starting from the right, Sin, Shin, Sad, Dad. The line below shows how Sin appears in the beginning of a word or an end of a word. So the one in red shows the beginning of a word. The one in white shows when it is in the end of a word. The same with Shin and with Sad and Dad. So let us see what could possibly resemble the shape of Sad. It actually resembles the eye. There is also a whole surah in the Quran that starts with the letter Sad. It is called Surah Sad. So maybe Sad symbolizes the inner sight. There is a hadith Qudsi in which Allah says, when I love him, meaning the worshipper or the servant, I am his hearing by which he hears, his sight by which he sees. How can we reach that level so that our sight can become godly and our hearing become godly? It is through purification. We purify our sight by lowering our gaze and not to look at that which Allah forbid us to look at. Not to, for example, violate someone else's privacy, not to look an envious look, not to look a jealous look, not to look with raged anger that is not justified or not right. So we have to purify our inner self so that our inner insight can give that reflection to our look. So we give a look of compassion, a look of mercy. We can give a firm look to demand the justice. Our eyes tell a lot about us. The eye is the window of the soul, as we said before. So when we purify our inner self and our outer sense of seeing, we can receive Allah's love. Then our seeing and hearing is godly, is in union with God, is in accordance with God, is in conformity with God. So we start to see reality as is. Because as we explained before, everything in the universe is like a letter sent to you, is like a sign, a clue. Let us say it's a letter sent to you that has a message, a divine message for you to read. So you have to open the message and look at the letter so you can understand the message. You know, sight is really an intellectual activity. It is not like our eyes are only like cameras. They just depict the images, the forms, the pictures. But without our intellectualizing this internally, then we don't have anything to do with these forms, like they have become meaningless. It is the insight that our soul, through becoming conscious of the meaning, that can make sense of what we see and can understand the meaning. So we have to open the form or the event or the relationship as if it was a divine letter and read, and that gives us insight to understand the divine message and the divine quality or qualities that seek from us to know them and to embody them, to express them outwardly. There is an ayah in the Quran in which Allah says, "On that day there will be radiant faces, which shall see their Lord." The Prophet ﷺ said, "You shall see your Lord just as you see the moon on the night of the full moon." He used to say this beautiful invocation, dua. He used to say, "I beg of you, Allah, the joy of seeing your face." Many Sufi teachers say that it is possible to see Allah in this world with the eye of the heart, with the inner eye. But how can we see Allah with the inner eye? What does this mean? You see, Allah says in the Quran, He does not talk to a human being except in three ways. One way is through a veil, and another way is by a sudden inspiration. So when Allah inspires us, it comes as a sudden inspiration, as something that has insight in it, that shows you the meaning, the wisdom behind what is the message is, or what the action Allah demands of you is. It can come in dreams, for example. Allah talks to us through dreams in a language of metaphor. He can give us warning or glad tidings, or explain to us something through dreams. However, seeing these dreams, it needs interpretation. And that's why the Prophet said, you should share your dreams only with people of wisdom, whom you think can help you interpret the dreams. Then the other aspect through which we see Allah is through the divine epiphany, tajalli, in which Allah make Himself known to the aspirant or the seeker in the realm of imagination, through a vision that the seeker sees during wakeful state. Again, this comes in the language of metaphors, symbols. So you see images or a vision that is full of symbols. Sometimes this vision can be so beautiful that we get attached to it. We don't look in the meaning, we're just enjoying them, and we want to induce them more and more. We want to have more of them. That's why Sufi teachers say you shouldn't be concerned about vision, because if you don't understand it, then you're not getting something out of it. And also because of the danger that we emphasize and we induce it into ourselves. However, the divine epiphany or the euphony, the tajalli, comes in as a sudden, again, a sudden vision out of the blue, beyond your imagination. You cannot ever think the same way that Allah shows Himself or reveals His message to you, speaks to you through an epiphany. Now many Sufi teachers warn us not to be attached to these visions, not to wait for it, not to induce it, and not to expect it, because when it comes as a sudden communication, and for a wisdom, for some reason, and it doesn't mean you arrived and that's it, that the path came to an end. It is just communicating for you a message, and you need to continue to strive to purify your intention, your consciousness, your qualities, so that you can be ready and receptive and do what Allah demands of you. So we shouldn't be attached to the garden of these visions, so to speak, because what is more important are the metaphor embedded on them. We have to also understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not appear twice in the same form, nor in the same form to two beings. When we say form here, it doesn't mean that Allah incarnate in a form. It rather means that He shows you Himself through a metaphor that through which you can understand His message and what He demands or informs you of, or revealing knowledge to you through. So that's why we shouldn't be attached to the visions in themselves, but think of them as vessels, just as the forms in the universe, the relationships that you're going through, the incidents that happen to you. We talked about that before, that everything is a sign, a clue, a catalyst through which Allah is communicating to you. So sometimes He chooses to communicate in this other way, to show nearness to someone who is in need to feel that, and to reveal some special knowledge that is peculiar to the person. And what happens when we fall in love with these visions, wait it, induce it, expect it, fantasize about it, is that we think we can repeat it. However, as we said, that God does not appear twice in the same metaphor, but He does not repeat Himself. Every message will be in a unique metaphor, a unique form. So we should better get attached to the meanings and to the Creator, the Beloved, who's trying to communicate His message to us and make Himself present. Notice that when you see a vision, like as I said before, seeing is not really through the eyes, because the eyes only works as a camera. Seeing is an intellectual, conscious process, like our consciousness let the intellectual activities happen in the brain, which makes us recognize what we're seeing. However, if we go deeper, then it is not only we recognize what we're seeing, we recognize also the meaning in it. And so that's why divine epiphanies are special, because you recognize Allah through them. You recognize that it is the divine direct communication to you. That's what makes them very special. تاء تاء ألف ألف حاء حاء ضاد ضاد سين سين جيم جيم ثاء ثاء خاء خاء صاد صاد طاء 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 ظاء 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 The first illustration shows us how letter ta appears in the beginning of a word, that is the one on the right side. The one in the middle shows how letter ta appears in the middle of a word, and the last one, the third one, shows us how ta appears in the end of a word. The illustration below it shows how to write letter ta. We start from step 1, from the line, we curve, we go down, we go straight for step 2 on the line, then we raise the pencil and we do step 3 for the straight line. Some Sufi teachers say that the letter ta resembles the shape of the leg and the feet. Maybe it symbolizes our inner walking, just as we have inner seeing and inner hearing, we have inner walking. Some people live life in vain. They think of it as meaningless, or they don't have a purpose, they don't see a purpose. But this path, as the Sufi teacher says, cannot properly be called a voyage, a journey, safar in Arabic language, unless it is also a disclosure or an unveiling, isfar in Arabic. The verb safara is used to denote the action of a woman uncovering her face. Now, the Sufi teacher plays with the Arabic words a little bit, because safar and isfar comes from the root verb safara. Safar means to journey, and isfar means to unveil. So he's saying this path, this journey in this life cannot be considered a real journey unless there is unveiling happens and we start to look at the meaning, we start to see a purpose for our life, we start to feel that we are living for a purpose and want to fulfill that purpose. Gregory of Nyssa said, "A voyage through beginnings that never end." It is similar to what the Sufi Ibn Arabi said, God's gifts are never ending and there is no last gift to end them all. Usually people think of the journey that it has an arriving station. We arrive and that's it. Actually, because Allah is limitless and infinite and eternal, the journey continues. What makes the journey a beautiful journey is the unveiling, that we start to see the meanings, we start to become aware of the divine qualities, embrace the divine godly qualities, and be vessel to channel and express these qualities. And our journey is towards perfection. We will always remain less perfect than the Creator. So we're always journeying, we're always traveling towards knowing more of Allah, towards more profound experience, more blessing and more beginnings of new experiences, because Allah is a creator and His creativity never comes to an end. So our journey does not come to an end. It's just whether we are conscious of it or not. When we're conscious of it, it makes it more joyful, and we appreciate the blessings. We're not conscious of it as meaningless and without a purpose and painful and restless and kind of a waste. May Allah protect us from that destiny. Once we become conscious and aware that this life has a purpose, it has a meaning, it's a learning experience, it's a beautiful experience that is bringing us closer to the beloved that will truly fulfill us, then we are set on the path of purification, the path of clarity, that is Sufism. And the Sufi teacher says there are 4 journeys of the soul. However, as I explained before, these 4 steps in the journey has to be done over and over. It's not like we arrive and that's it. So the first journey or the first step is from the world of creation to the truly real. That is Allah. من الخلق إلى الحق. You will hear it a lot on the Sufi teaching, and you will read it in Sidi's books. What means is that instead of taking the forms as just forms, then we open them as if they are letters sent to us. You can't know the meaning unless you read the letter. So that's why Allah says to us in the Quran, and that was the first revelation to Prophet Muhammad, read. So we open the world of creation and we go through it. We see through it. That is the step 1, to step beyond the world and transcend, to look into the inner dimension of the world, and that is the truly real, so that we can see things as they are in their realities. Otherwise, we're perceiving things according to our own misconception and pattern of habits, behavior, what we've been taught, and our prejudice, our ignorance, our fears and our worries, and all of our selfish qualities. We are not seeing things as they are. We are seeing it through a veil. So we have to lift the veil and look beyond and take ourselves to the truly real, with a true desire and intention and focus to encounter the truly real. Then the second step starts. It is from the truly real to the truly real by the truly real. من الحق إلى الحق بالحق. What means it's a journey in Allah. So the first step is a journey from the creation to Allah, to the Creator. The second is a journey in Allah, which means now we are in the presence of the truly real that helps us to see the truly real by the truly real. So it is a journey within Allah. Then the third step is after that is from the truly real to the world of creation with the truth, or by the truly real. من الحق إلى الخلق بالحق. Which means now we could see that what is the truth about what we are seeing and experiencing in the world, and we can see through the forms or the metaphors, the science of the Creator, and now we gain that clarity and the reality, the truth about it, and we're ready to go back to the creation, to act in accordance to this understanding. So when we are going back from the truly to the world, we are not the same person. We're coming back with the truth. Then the fourth and final step of the journey is from the world of creation to the world of creation with the truth. من الخلق إلى الخلق بالحق. With the truth or by the truth, by the truly real. Which means is that what the truth we brought from being able to clearly communicate with the truly real and taking the guidance and the wisdom from the truly real, then we are now in the world again, but we have the truth, we're not the same person, and we act accordingly. So we're acting in accordance with the truth, or we're acting by the truth, by the truly real, through the truly real. So the last step is the step of action, of expression. Or with posing. Posing could be an action too that the moment demands. Whatever it is, we are doing it in accordance to what the truth or the truly real demands of us as an effective and wise action or behavior or attitude in that particular moment and circumstance. Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam says, prayer is an ascension for the faithful believer. This shows that the first step of the 4 steps journey is the journey from the created world to the creator, as we said in the previous slide. So we started with prayer. Rituals are this first step. But once we enter with well into the prayer, then it can take us to the other 2 steps. So Prophet Muhammad says to us, be in this world as a traveler passing by. We are just here temporarily to learn about our Creator, about ourselves. And if we know about ourselves, we know about our Creator. So Prophet Muhammad says, be like a passing by. If you are passing by a hotel, or like you are staying in a hotel temporarily and moving to your destination, are you going to take anything of the material world? No, usually you leave the hotel and you leave everything there. You only take the memory, the experience you had there. That's what you carry with you. So the same with life events and relationships and forms. You take what you needed, what you can take with you, and you move on. So these ritual prayers help us to achieve that step. However, it is just the baby step, because eventually we have to attain a station when all life becomes a prayer. When our job becomes a prayer, when our relationship becomes a prayer, when anything we do, even our entertainment becomes a prayer. How can this be? When we see through it, when we see through it the truth that embedded in it, then it is not meaningless or valueless or just entertainment or just torture experience. But it has a purpose, it has a meaning, and when we attain that, there is a blessing we feel and a reward and a pleasure, a joy. So instead of having the difficulty and just looking at that aspect, we see the blessing in it. Just as Allah says in the Quran, with every difficulty there is an ease. With every difficulty there is an ease. He repeated that twice, so that we can see that every opportunity is a catalyst, that we can find blessing therein, we can find something that bring us closer to the truly real, that is more fulfilling than the outer form of that experience. So we take what we can take the value and the purpose and the meaning within the experience, and we move on, we ascend towards that perfection, towards approaching that perfection, towards becoming conscious of Allah's presence, the truly real, which is the beautiful essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Va, vel, vel. Seen, seen, seen. Sod, sod, sod. Ta, ta, ta. Te, te, te. Ain, 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 ain. Ghin, 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 ghin. Kha, kha, kha. Ghin, ghin, ghin. This is how letter Ain will appear in the beginning of a word. That is the one on the right side. The one in the middle shows Ain in the middle of a word. And the third one shows Ain in the end of a word. Notice that the Ain at the end of a word looks a little bit different than the letter Ain we write, like it is kind of a knot, and it's kind of smaller, not an open curve as it shows. However, you can write it both ways. The illustration below shows how we can write letter Ain. Actually, that arrow is wrong because you start from one, you go to the left and down as step 2 shows. Then you go up and then you go down without lifting the pen as step 3 shows, and then you go do the big curve underneath the line as step 4 shows. It is interesting to notice that there are 2 words in Arabic language that have the same sound as letter Ain. Like when you say Ain, you could either be referring to Ain the letter, or you could mean an eye. So Ain means eye. It also means essence. Ain. However, with both I and essence, it is written differently. It is not written just as Ain the letter. It is written differently, but they are pronounced in the same way, like the letter Ain. And I find this interesting, as I will explain more in the following slides. You can go back and forth between the previous slide and this slide so that you can see how letter Ain, as shown in the middle of a word or the end of a word, really resembles the shape of the sacrum. This is another illustration of the sacrum bone, shows how it resembles letter Ain when Ain is written in the middle or end of a word. And the sacrum is a large triangular bone at the base of the spine and at the upper and back part of the pelvic cavity, where it is inserted like a wedge between the 2 hip bones. Its upper part connects with the last lumbar vertebra and the bottom part with the tailbone. It is in a way connecting the upper part of the body to the lower part of the body, or heaven to earth, as we will explain more in the next slide. the sacrum is the seat of the organ of procreation. And it's interesting to find out that in Slavic languages and in German, this bone is called the crossbone. In Deutsch, it is called the holy bone. And the name is derived from the Latin that means sacred, a translation of the Greek that means sacred or strong bone. It is very interesting because it is kind of connecting heaven to earth, or the world of multiplicity that occurs through procreation, to the world of oneness, because the upper part has the heart and has the intellect. We both have the same heart, the same feelings. We feel the same and we intellectualize almost the same too. We have that same capacity. So we can see how the realm of oneness is homogeneous and we all have the share in it or access to it. That is the realm of the heart and the intellect, heavens. And then the realm of procreation that produces the forms, the multiplicity forms, is the realm of diversity. However, it's an outer diversity. And it again expresses the different qualities in a different way, in a diverse way. It is different or diverse expressions of the same source. So this sacrum bone symbolizes this sacred relationship between the two realms. It is kind of the intermediary. That's why the relationship between a man and a woman considered holy in many religion and the spiritual paths, because it holds the secret of unity, of becoming one, because when the bodies join, it is that illusion that the bodies are different or we are separate, but when that disappears, then there is the spiritual and the intellectual realm that we all share. And so it is when we hold that relationship in a holy way as it is created for, then it can lead us to contemplating the divine oneness and the divine qualities, and it becomes a holy relation where people are mirrors to each other, reflecting the divine qualities. And so it is interesting to know that this bone is called almost the same thing in different languages, which actually shows or allude to a similar knowledge that that kind of intuitively embedded within us, that when we express ourselves in speech, it's almost the same. And it's an amazing, it shows that speech comes from one source, Allah, who inspired us with the names. He taught Adam all the names. It is interesting to know that in Arabic language the word sacrum is al-ijd, as it is written in the right side. On the left side you see how I separated the letters, and this will be one of your practice, as we will see in the following slides, to know how to connect the letters and separate them. When you do that practice, it will help you master the letters and recognize how they looked like when they are connected and disconnected. But back to our point, in Arabic language, al-ijz means incapacity. It also means that. It means the sacrum, but it also means incapacity, or it means the last phase, or it is used to refer to the origin of something. This is very interesting when we compare it to how the word sacrum means in other languages, because we can understand the relationship between this incapacity or the last phase or the origin to the holiness, the sacredness that other languages refer to. A companion of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, the incapacity to comprehend is comprehension. The incapacity to comprehend is comprehension, because Allah is so infinite, is so perfect, is so beyond our fathom, our full comprehension. Life is so rich and profound that we cannot really claim that we have full comprehension of it. So there is this mystical aspect that always remains and always calling us to ascend and ascend, to go deeper and deeper, to try to approach the meaning of life, to try to approach the divine essence. So in realizing this comprehension and stopping claiming that we are upholding the full and absolute truth all the time, or at any point, then we realize that this realization is a true comprehension of life. Because again, as I said over and over, every moment demands something new. Every moment wants you to learn something new. So even if you held or you act as the best you can, knowing this is the truly real or this is the truth, and you acted accordingly, the next moment this could change a little bit or shift. Like, let me say a concrete example. You know, we all strive to be generous because it's one of the godly, beautiful attributes. So, but to be one moment might mean something else than in the next or a different moment. Like if generosity demands of me to give money at one point, it might demand of me to give knowledge or to withhold giving material things and only give love or prayer. So with every moment there is a new expression of generosity that is posing itself to me. In that sense, realizing my incapacity to fully comprehend and get hold of what generosity means, then there is a true comprehension in that, because I became open, receptive, and ready to express generosity in all of its infinite expressions. So one of these catalysts or profound catalysts that comes to us in a form of gender relationship or marriage, it has this aspect again that we can't comprehend its fullness, and it poses this new learning at every moment. The Quran describes this relationship that the husband and wife are like garments to each other. So what does it mean? It's a metaphor. So again, we have to open it and try to see what the metaphor referring to. You know, a garment is very close to you. It is kind of close to your skin. So just as the husband and wife come close to each other physically, they also should come close to each other intellectually and spiritually, so that they can learn more the profound lessons there. And the garment protect each other, so they should be protective of each other. The garment beautify. That means that there is this potential to know the divine attributes that the other person possesses, in order that we can learn it. We can learn a new quality that remains dormant within us, or a new expression of a quality that we thought, oh, we know what it means, but now it demands of us to express it in a new way. And the more we do that, the more that the beauty manifests, our beauty manifests as vessels from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The garment also has the aspect of concealment. It conceals one's kind of privacy. So in the same manner, the husband and wife, or we can extend that also to friendship and to any relationship between parent and children, or between a boss and employee, that we have to kind of conceal each other secrets, or also conceal each other negativities. It is not like to totally overlook it, but not to gently cover it up and not to embarrass the other person or to belittle them and so forth. And the garment also has the aspect of comforting. It has to be comforting, so it has to fit. If it is too tight or too wide, then it is not very comfortable. So that means the garment has to be flexible, again according to each moment and what it bothers. So the sacrum, as the bone that connects the upper body to the lower part of the body, or the world of intellect and spirit to the realm of forms, or heaven to earth, it is a holy position. It's an intermediary position, just as our position in the universe. The human being is that intermediate being between heaven and earth. We can join both together. We can connect to both. And so this is a holy station. And you remember when I said Ain, the letter Ain symbolizes that, because it also means an eye and an essence. So in a way that it is our inner insight that helps us see heavens and earth at the same time. And it is also our it's a catalyst for our essence. This intermediary position helps us know the divine essence and know our own essence as beautiful spirit that comes from the absolutely perfect and beautiful source. So letter Ain, as it resembles the sacrum and it means eye and essence, symbolizes that human being aspect or essence. Fa, fa, fa. Qaf, qaf, qaf. As usual, the illustration shows how letter Fa in the right side appear in the beginning of a word. The one in the middle, it shows how letter Fa appear in the middle of a word. And the third one shows how letter Fa appears at an end of a word. Then the big illustration below shows you how to write letter Fa. You start from the line. In step 1 you go up and then you curve down, and then you go to the left, straight line on the line on step 3, then you curve up on step 4, and then you lift your hand and you do the dot in step 5. Letter Qaf almost appears like letter Fa, especially when it is written in the beginning of a word and in the middle of a word. But the thing that distinguishes it from letter Fa is the 2 dots. Letter Fa has 1 dot, letter Qaf have 2 dots on top. And the illustration below shows you how to write letter Qaf. You go from the line up as step 1, you go down as step 2, you curve underneath the line, a big curve, and you go a little bit up above the line in step 4. Then you lift your pen and do the dots in step 5 and 6. Some Sufi teachers say that letter Fa resembles the knee as it connects to one of the bones in the leg. When I reflected on the similarity between the knee and the leg and letter Fa that some Sufi teacher alluded to or pointed to, that's what came to me, that knee-jerk reflex is a reflex of which helps maintain posture and balance, allowing to keep one balance with little effort or conscious thought. And I thought maybe when we become connected to the truly real, just as our body organs are connected to the truly real, and they act without even us thinking or knowing how they act. If I want to stand, I stand. If I want to grasp something with my hand, it happens. When they do the knee jerk test, my knee reflects that way. So in a sense that everything acting naturally when it is tuned to the truly real. So and when it doesn't have kind of illness. So in a sense, if also our souls are healed from its illness and is tuned and connected to the truly real, then our actions, our attitude, our behavior, our qualities, our expression can also become a natural reflex, like we're mirroring the divine attributes, and without effort it becomes natural. Like for example, in the beginning of a bath is like a toddler trying to walk. They need to learn and then they fall down, but when they master walking, then it becomes natural. They don't do the same effort anymore. So in the same way that when we make effort to connect to the truly real, it becomes hard, and then we go back and we err. However, the more we try and strive, the easier it becomes, and the beautiful qualities become our nature, because originally they are our nature. But what happens is that they are covered up or remain dormant, or we confuse them, or we abuse them for different reasons, and we don't act according to them anymore. But when we return to our original state, connecting to the truly real, then our very nature started to appear. Our nature is those beautiful qualities of Allah, so they started to express themselves more. This is the kind of practice I mentioned before in the class. I brought some of Allah's beautiful names and I wrote them on the right side, then I tried to disconnect the letter of each word. In this way you can know how the letter looks when they are connected and when they are disconnected. And so that practice helps you to master reading, because you recognize the letters when they are connected. So it's a very important practice, and you can do it by connecting the letters and disconnecting the letter. I will show a homework at the end of the class, but let us look at these examples that I brought. The first word is Jabbar, Jim, Ba, Alif, Ra. The second word is Ghaffar, Ghin, Fa, Alif, Ra, Ghaffar. Now, notice that the Alif and Ra in the two words are disconnected. This is because there is a rule that we do not connect after Alif. We only connect before Alif. The third example is Razzaq, Ra, Zain, Alif, Qaf, Razzaq. Now notice that the Ra and Zain and Alif and Qaf are not connected in the original word. This is because the rule says we don't connect after Ra or after Za or after Alif or after, we connect actually after Qaf, but there is no letter after Qaf in this word. Then the fourth example is Fattah, Fa, Ta, Alif, Ha, Fattah. Allah is Al-Fattah. And the fifth example is Qabid, Allah is Al-Qabid, Qaf, Alif, Ba, Dad. The one before last is Basit, Ba, Alif, Sin, Ta. And the last example is Qadir, Qaf, Alif, Dal, Ra. here is a review of the letters we learned and the letters we have not yet learned yet. And you can see that we learned the first 2 lines and then 2 more letters. So next time you can really finish all the alphabet, and inshallah we can start to learn vowels and reading small words, so you can build the vocabulary. So inshallah we'll start reading from the right corner. Alif, Ba, Ta, Tha, Jim, Ha, Kha. Dal, Zal, Ra, Zain, Sin, Shin, Sad, Dad, Ta, Dha, Ain, Ghin, Fa, Qaf. We learned those letters so far, so try to practice them, read and write, and do the quizzes. The rest of the letters we learn the next time are Kaf, Lam, Mim, Noon, Ha, Waw, Ya. This is your homework. All of these words are real Arabic words. So you need to take each word and try to separate the letters. Then try to write again when they are connected, if you can. And this really is a good practice, and it will make you master the letters really well.